Ready to roll?
Yes.
All right, just kind of start off by saying, not a lot has changed since what we talked yesterday. After watching the film, meeting with the players, we understand the things we have to clean up, and we talked about a lot of the things that happened during the game. So with that being said, I will open it up to questions.
Mike, the challenge with Cam, he's now had consecutive games where he's just had the ball come out of his hand. How much, he said just grip the ball tighter. Is there anything more to it than that?
Well, he understands the importance of ball security in the pocket and moving like he did, and it's happened a couple times now. So it's something you're always going to stress, the importance of the ball and protecting it in the pocket, certain things like that. There's drills that you do all the time, and you always talk to him about doing it. So we'll continue to do that, and that's something he has to clean up because we can't hurt the football team that way.
How about on the throws? He's throwing balls behind guys like the one with Chig yesterday that obviously turned into a problem. How frequently is that his issue as opposed to maybe miscommunication about the route? And what's the solution to some of those?
Well, there could be a combination of all those things you just mentioned. Not every ball is going to be completed, as we all know. There's going to be certain things, and there's times when a quarterback's throw looks terrible, and it's like you go back and watch the film, you see things, and it's like you talk to the receivers, certain things that come up, you talk about technique, and there will be at times also a communication on how to run a route. Do you sit down for zone? Do you break out? Do you break in? So there's a number of different things, but those are balls that you're going to look at from a coaching staff and from a player's perspective. When you look at it on tape, you say those are plays we've got to make. We can't have those. We can't miss those opportunities to have a successful play and stay efficient throughout the game.
Mike, is there something that you could do just as far as like he likes to go deep with the ball, but there are times when stuff is open underneath. Is there something you could do just to kind of get him in better habit of taking those throws? What the defense is giving you?
Yeah, that's something that you kind of always discuss during the week of practice, and there's certain times where we will take things away in practice so that he does do that. But he does like to throw the ball downfield and do certain things and make on certain throws. But that's part of him developing as a young quarterback and understanding, and he's learning. He is learning, and you could see the decision he made the other day in the game, starting that game, and the way he's played and the way he's been practicing the last couple of weeks. It's a lot easier on 2nd and 4, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1s to play the game than it is 2nd and 10, 3rd and 12. When you hold the ball a little too long because you're trying to throw it downfield, like you mentioned, and all of a sudden the coverage all drops out when one of our backs is sitting right there. It's a lot easier to spit it down, and when you check the ball down, more often than not, they make that first guy miss. Our tight ends included in that. You'll see the plays the tight ends have made on short completions this year. So it's the same thing with the back. So that's what we got. He's got to continue to do that. And it's just completions. Stay efficient. Stay heading down a distance is critical.
I know he likes to stay in the pocket and try to get rid of the football, but are there opportunities maybe more so that he could tuck it and run with it to just pick up 4 or 5 yards here and there and move the chains? Have those opportunities presented themselves very often? Well,
very similar to the last question about checking the ball down. I think as you learn, playing the quarterback position at this level, that's exactly what you said you want to do at times. It's man coverage, or there's certain looks, certain zone defenses where all of a sudden there's a big hole crease you can hit. You can go up there and run for 4 or 5 instead of holding the ball, and it's just like throwing a check down. So now it's 2nd and short, 3rd and short, whatever that is, or you pick up a first down with your feet because of that situation. So yeah, there is opportunities to do that at times. I'm not saying it's happened a lot, but that's something you always talk about.
After the game yesterday, one of the Patriots receivers described the secondary play as a little bit lazy. It's not the first time that an opponent has questioned effort or energy from the Titans this year. I guess, first off, do you agree with that assessment? And 2, why do you think that perception is building among opponents?
You guys asked me that same question the first time we talked, and I'll say the same thing today. I don't agree with it. I think our players have prepared and played hard week in and week out. So I do not agree with it.
Jeff has talked about your best players playing their best. What does the defense, what does the team take when they see somebody like L'Jarius play so poorly on at least 3 plays where he's beaten easily and then disappears?
Well, like we talked about, last week, we're gonna hold everybody accountable, and I think players coaches. That's one thing we're always going to do. We're going to be brutally honest with players. Everybody. It's not just your best players. It's everybody. You're going to talk to players and say, hey, this is the way we got to play. They're all going out there trying to do what they're supposed to do.
What does holding him accountable besides conversation look like in how you run things?
Well, like after every practice, after every game, you talk to every player, every coach. As a head coach, you address the team. As a coordinator, you address, the one of the three phases. And then as position coaches, you address your players. And our job is we're never criticizing the player. What we're doing, we're coaching the players. So we're trying to get the players to play to the best of their abilities week in and week out and help them be successful. That's what coaching is. And you can be hard on players, and then there's the opportunity at times you love them up. There's a lot of really good plays too. So you always got to, as players, you always tell them this. We're not criticizing. We're not at all. It starts with us as coaches. But the most important thing is we're trying to help you and help our football team become the best team we possibly can. You be the best player. So that's what we're going to do. And listen, there's going to be some mistakes. We're playing some good football teams, some really good players. You're going to get beat from time to time. You're going to get beat. That's part of the game. Okay, it's just a matter of doing all the little things right. Okay, so that we're all on the same page doing things.
What type of approach have you found best works with Cam? You talked about sometimes you love him up, sometimes you coach him hard. He's such a confident guy. Does he respond more to tough love, or does he respond more to patience and encouragement?
I think all the great ones want to be coached hard, and I think they want to be told the truth. And especially at the quarterback position, you got to tell them the way you want the system to be run. And there's certain things you talk about during the week of preparation, the plays you like, the plays you don't like, or you order them or take things out that you may not be comfortable, being a younger player. So I think he wants to be coached hard, and he wants to be told the way it should be done and how to do it. And then I think on game days, you got to let players go out and play. And, you can't, there's going to be certain things you talk about during the week through drills and, do certain things, but then on game day, they got to go out and play.
What's an example then of coaching hard? Let's say when he fumbles the ball twice like he did, how do you respond to him with that?
He knows he's not supposed to do that. He knows it. He's the first one who's going to tell you I got to hold on to the ball. So that's an easy one. You don't have to say much to him. He knows he's got to hold on to the ball. That's easy.
I guess when you watched film yesterday, what were maybe some of the biggest issues on run defense? Maybe was it tackling issue, or just maybe guys not where they're supposed to be?
Well, I think it's a combination. We got to be in the right gaps at certain time, the run fits, who's supposed to be doing certain things. That was the biggest thing. How is it a fit at the second level, whatever that is. But it's a combination of everything. It was not just one position or one person. It's kind of it's everybody.
How important is it in terms of staying on schedule offensively and just playing the game you want to play as an entire football team to get more out of your running game in terms of attempts and certainly yards?
Were you in our staff meeting earlier? We talked about that one. No, it's critical. You got to run the football. You got to run it. You can't be one-dimensional in this business. But the problem is that from game to game, at times when you get behind, the numbers get skewed. But you're always looking for balance. But I also say this: our job as coaches is to always do what we think gives us the best chance to win. And so there's been plenty of games where we've thrown it 40, 50 times. Shoot, with Tim Tebow in Kansas City one year, we ran it 50-something times, threw it a couple times in the game. I think we had a couple completions in the game, but we won the game. That's all that matters. So we're always going to look at that as what are we doing well? And there's games you go into as a play caller too, I've done before, is you think you're going to go and you're going to air it out 40 or 50 times. You get the run game going and you just keep going, you keep running. Next thing you know, the numbers are completely different than what you thought. So you always go in the plan, but as in a perfect world, there's some balance to it all.
I know you'll probably list the injured guys as day-to-day. What is your philosophy on test versus rest with these guys during the practice week? Do you need to see guys practice to play them, or do you just kind of trust they know when they're ready?
A combination of everything. There's certain players, the veterans that have played a lot of football, you have a lot of more, you can say, okay, hey, I can play. These players don't necessarily need to practice as much as others. There's certain players, they need the reps. There's certain you learn a lot about players through the offseason program, through training camp. There's plenty of times and places I've been where you say, if this player's not practicing, he is not playing. End of story. Because he's a rep guy, he needs to see it, and that's nothing against him. That's just the type of player he is. And a lot of players will tell you too, I need to go out there and do it. And then there's other players that they can just naturally go out there and be successful. So every player is different. I think as my job, the training staff, we always got to look at it is what is the best interest of the players, and are they ready to go that week? And everybody's different. Eric Weddle, Phillip Rivers, back in the days, they were going to be ready. You never knew what they had, but they were going to play. They were going to find a way, regardless, to play, and nobody knew about it.
Are there any next day declarations you can make about Simmons, Snead, Ridley?
Excuse me?
Simmons, Snead, Ridley, are there any next day declarations?
No,
you
we'll
can
talk to you about, as the week goes on, we'll give you the updates on those players.
Go ahead, Paul.
Is Cody Barton locked into his spot, or is there a scenario where you'd make a change there?
No, he's in his spot.
How do you think things went, Mike, I guess from an operations standpoint, communication standpoint for you, and able to do everything you want to do as a head coach, and will you tinker with things moving forward on how things go on game day?
I'll tell you this right now, this week will be a lot easier than last week. After getting thrown into the mix, and like I told you, it's an honor and privilege to be up here in front of you guys and running the organization, but last week was a scramble. And that's just, but the good thing was I've done it before. So there's a lot of things, but it was really just getting, I think, like I mentioned after the game, our organization deserves a ton of credit from everybody, and not just the players, but everybody else in this building of buying in and doing what we had to do to get ready for this game this past weekend. But, I was doing so many other things to make sure that, I had to get up to speed on a number of different things here on how we want to do it here with this organization, and, some things that I should get caught up on. And, but it wasn't difficult. It was just a matter of getting everybody on the same page. That was the number one thing. I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page on how we're going to do things moving forward. So there's a lot of little meetings on the side, not just on the practice field or in meetings with players, but as an organization, having a lot of great discussions about how we want to do things here.
Mike, with the apparent effort to streamline or quote unquote simplify the offense once you got in your position, is that something that's true? And if it is true, how much more of that was an effort for the full team offense-wise, and not opposed to just Cam Ward?
Well, I don't necessarily know that simplify is the right word. I think every week we are looking at what does our offense do best, and what is the best way to approach this game plan. So it's always, you always look at the quarterback and say, what does he do well, or what does he like when you put plays together? Our job as coaches is to explain to Cam, this is why we're running things, this is the scheme we're attacking, this is where the ball should go in a perfect world, but it's never going to be perfect. And that's part of coaching and installing. And as a young player, it's important that he gives us a lot of feedback about what does he like and what does he not like. Because I firmly believe if the quarterback likes it, it's probably going to work more often than not, because he knows what he's doing and those are his favorite plays and things like that. But I also think it's important that he understands that, this is the scheme, or these are certain plays we want to put in this week. But you just want to the most important thing is let the quarterback go out and play fast. I wouldn't, so.
The offense did it for a quarter in Arizona with help, obviously. You did it for a quarter yesterday at the beginning. What gives you confidence that this offense can sustain something long enough over the course of a game to put forth a winning effort and enough points?
Because of what it means to these players and the way they work. And we've seen it be done. We just got to do it more consistently. We got to finish drives certain ways, and obviously we can't turn the ball over. We got to run the ball more efficiently. We got some great backs. We got a good line. We got, we just got to do everything more consistently. That's the most important thing, is go out there and do our jobs better. That's coaches, players, it's everybody involved.
I guess that's the second part of the question, though. What gives you faith that you can do it more consistently?
Because we've seen them do it and the way they work. I mean, they work extremely hard, and we see them out there, the want to, the type of players we have. We just got to, everyone, all three phases. It's not just the offense, it's not the defense, not just the kicking game, it's all three phases and feeding off of one another. Someone make a big play, don't chase plays, but somebody go out there and make the play that kind of gets everyone going again. And then, it just kind of, and just feed off each other's energy. Like I said, togetherness. We're all in this thing together. We're going to stick together. We, make plays. We're going to feed off of one another. We're going to support each other. There's going to be ups and downs in every game, every season. But there's a lot of football left. You just got to keep going, keep grinding away, and our players will be successful because of the way they work and because they want to be
Jim had a big play.
Yeah, great to see.
In the first half, couple
Yeah.
of big plays, including
Yeah.
the touchdown, but then he kind of vanished in the second half, not even a target. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I don't think we had much success as an offense in the second half. Not just him. I think there's certain plays, like we go back to the game planning. There's certain schemes that you're going to play. You go in with a game plan, you have a plan. There's a place where the ball's supposed to go. You always look at the call sheet, and there's plays for each player. You say, this is where this should be touches for that play. Well, they play a different coverage, then it's the quarterback's job to go in a different way. So that's going to change from week to week. Sometimes there's plays that are designed to go to certain players, and then the score gets to what it was like the other day. So then you start you get away from what you wanted your main game plan to be, to get certain targets to not just him, but other players too. So, and then all of a sudden you start seeing a bunch of softer coverage or different coverages than what you thought you were going to see. So that's going to happen.
It looked like Tyjae had some struggles early in the game yesterday. How did he grow into the game, getting back into reps, and how important is he with Jeff's status maybe a little bit up in the air?
Well, I think anytime you're away from the game for a little bit, it takes you time to get back in the groove of things. But I think he did an outstanding job of getting back in and doing his job. And there's definitely some things he'll look at today. And as the coaches, we'll talk to him and say, hey, you need to clean these things up and do things a little better. But I think he'll play even better this week after playing, getting back in the groove of things and getting back into football shape and going out and playing. There's nothing like playing in the games.
What was your reasoning for not using any of the timeouts on that last drive before halftime? The offense had been moving the ball relatively well.
Well, like I mentioned to you guys after the game, there's going to be so many things that come in to play situationally in the game. I mentioned the wind to you. It was blowing, and there's certain things that we just we had a couple incomplete passes to end the drive before. Unfortunately, and we put the defense back out there. I think it was 148, and then the defense goes out and the ball goes over their head, and it's a touchdown, and the score's what it is. So there's certain things that will always go into play and be factors of what's the score of the game, what's the weather like, how are we playing offensively, defensively, certain things, and so every situation's different. I mean, it's always going to be different. If you go in the other direction, it's a whole different deal. You go the other direction, you have a higher. Where do we need to get? I mean, there was a lot of, like I told you guys yesterday, there was a lot of discussion when the ball was on the 27-yard line with the wind blowing the way it was and where we need to get and then, you have a penalty here and there, and then you start thinking about things. So there are so many things you guys don't hear, about the discussions that go into things. And what we think is best at that time. And it's not always going to be the same. You go inside, you're playing in a dome, it's completely different. And how is your team playing from week to week? That's another thing. So
I think a lot of us are confused about the wind because your kick go in the same direction from 50 yards not that long before. Did the wind change drastically?
it was blowing pretty hard. Yeah, it was blowing. So there's certain things, and I'm not. There's a number of factors that goes into consideration. But I mentioned wind to you, so that's why I'm saying that to you today.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Tyjae, after spending a week with Mike McCoy running the ship, how has that been, or what are some of the things that maybe, I'm not going to say are better, but are a bit different now?
It's a bit different. Of course, he's a totally different person than Brian, but he preaching more mindset, and he's preaching more so it's not about the plays, it's about the players, and he's doing a great job. With the captains hearing them out and, establishing the way that he wants things ran. So it's been great.
Well, when you say preaching more mindset, what do you mean by it? Is there something specifically he's
It's just
saying?
Positivity. Of course, we like it's no secret. Like we are in a very tough time right now. We like 1-6, so it's just like having a positive mindset. Not just one day, but each and every day we get a chance to play football. Man, he always preach like it's a gym, and it's like it truly is a gym. Like we still, on a national level, playing a game that we all once loved as a kid.
You guys had it going a little bit, at least in the first quarter, and then it goes away. The times that you've shown things offensively, it's been in small spurts. Like, what's the bridge to get it to carry over into some more sustainability?
It gets so tough because we in a business that's so demanding, but this is like a whole new offense. It's a whole new lot. It's a different pieces all around the board. But like you said, we had it going. We had the rhythm going Sunday, and unfortunately, we lost it in the second half. And it's just like, again, not just to focus on the negative things, but let's build on the positive. Like, let's build on the things that we did in the first half and, put them together and make it a whole game and see what the outcome going to be then.
How you feel like you are as far as being back in the groove, feeling like yourself again after missing the first part of the year?
It was tough missing those first 4 games, but like you said, I'm getting back and I'm feeling healthier as the week go on, and few runs that I wish I had back from yesterday. But like I said, it's a blessing to be back out there again.
So you feel like you're still working back to the full capacity of?
No, not really. So I'm just saying, like, just with time, everything come to a head in time.
What's kind of been, I guess, the attitude on the sideline for guys when you see the game start to slip away with those 2 third-quarter touchdowns?
Oh, we are never giving up. So it's just like we stay encouraging, we stay pushing each other. So like no matter what the scoreboard look like, we're gonna keep on encouraging and keep on trying to match and exceed the points that's already on the scoreboard. So yeah, we don't give up.
Do you have any idea what can help make that effort and that energy translate to more success when things start snowballing?
Just like we just gotta be together, and we all gotta believe. It's like we gotta believe. First, we can't let the game get out of hand like that. But then, if it does, we just gotta stay together and believe.
How does Cam react to turnovers when he commits them?
He reacts well. Like he a human, so you know what I'm saying. He's not gonna be perfect out there, but he reacts well. He don't go throwing temper tantrums. He don't throw his helmet on the sideline. In some instances, like, bro, we can be better for you, and that's what it is.
How important is that, do you think, to him kind of digging out of those missteps?
Like, what you mean?
It's like his mentality with that, digging out of those.
Oh, it's everything. It shows his maturity as a young player, with a lot of pressure on him, being a first-round pick, being the first pick of the draft. Like, it shows his maturity each and every day. Like, he may make mistakes, but he's still coming. He still come every day hungry. He still come back every drop hungrier. Like, even with the mindset, like, we still got to score. We still got to make things happen. So he ain't showing no fault to me.
How much you find yourself trying to maybe lift younger guys up, whether it's Cam after a mistake or some of the rookies or even Khalil who's going through injury stuff? How much you try to lift those guys up?
I try to pride myself on being an encourager each and every day, not just on Sundays, each and every day, because I know how I feel like to feel negative about yourself and beat yourself up for mistakes that you made or going through the process of injury. Like I've been on the other side of the ball with all that stuff, so the best I can be to you, that's what I'm going to try to do.
Tyjae, you haven't been a pro very long, but you've already had 2 coaches now come in and get fired. How difficult has it been to kind of go through that, get settled, and now know that you're going to have to do all this again with a new guy?
Yeah, in college, man, I had the same coach all the way through, really Fritz, and the culture, it didn't really change. So like with the head coaches now, and this steady changing, like the culture steady change. So, but it's like we as players, we gotta forge the culture, and we gotta create the culture here. But it's definitely different because you got one coach and a different coach. They preaching 2 totally different things, but it's all aligning with one thing, and that's winning. So it's just like it's definitely difficult though.
Has Mike McCoy had a chance to change things drastically in less than a week at this point?
Like I said, he doing his best. He doing his best with what he's preaching to us and what he's doing. Like the way we attacking different things for his practice and the way we attacking like the game. So he doing the best he can. It's only been a week.
Appreciate you.
Thank y'all.
I guess after watching film yesterday, I guess one of the things, I guess you feel like you guys got to clean up on defense before you face, I guess the team really runs the ball well like the Colts do.
Yeah, obviously not letting teams get explosives, not letting teams get big shots in the pass game, and then also up front for the front seven, just building a wall in the run game. We got a tough challenge coming up this Sunday, and we got to be able to build the wall up front, and obviously protect the back end.
What's kind of the rationale for where you lined up on the 4th and 1 and where you wound up on that play?
Oh, the one down by the end zone. We were just in a soft coverage there. That's just a tough when it's empty 5 out versus the coverage we were in. That's the open spot in the zone.
Why? I mean, I know it's over your head, but what's the benefit of soft coverage on 4th and 1?
I'm not trying to pick apart no calls or anything. It's just that was the call we were in, and we just happened to be in that call to that offensive play, and it just didn't work out.
You looked kind of confused when you got there and tackled. You looked up at Condre. Condre was kind of looking at you, clapping. What was the resolution there?
No, there was no confusion, but it was just something we had to check to, and it happened late, and just they ended up converting it.
Early in the game, struggling as a unit against the run, against a team that's not very good so far this year running the ball. What are maybe the things that went wrong there, and how did you guys stem that bleeding as the game went on?
Yeah, that's just what I talked about, building the wall up front, D-line in their gaps, linebackers in their gaps, safeties and corners, crack replacing, and just filling it downhill, and just, something that we just got to keep improving on, and just, whether it's rotating calls in and out, changing different looks, me and Sed getting downhill. It's just there's numerous factors to each play, and so it's something that we're going to keep working to improve on for this week.
Cody, you've got a lot of younger players on
Yeah.
this team. And do you say things to them, try to keep spirits up? I mean, there's a lot of adversity right now, something these guys may not have been through before. Where do you think that is with this team right now? Some of these guys kind of going through.
Yeah, with the young guys, I've definitely tried to be positive with them. I feel like I'm, for the most part, always a positive guy. And I'm always trying to give them words of encouragement, always trying to keep everyone positive, everyone together, as a team. And because it is hard, when you start losing games like this, it is hard. It is challenging. It's frustrating. It's challenging on your mental, on your emotions, and everything. And so, it's in times like this, it's even more important to stay together and to try to stay positive. And don't get me wrong, it's hard. It gets hard. When you start losing games, you get frustrated. Everyone gets frustrated. But like I said, that's where it's crucial to stay together.
What was the impact after Jeff went out yesterday and couldn't return, and what do you guys have to do to regroup if he's going to miss some time?
Yeah, I was asked that last night, and that's a big loss. Jeff's an amazing player, and so what I said last night is the same thing I'll say to you today. Is just it's the next man up mentality. That's something we've all been taught at a young age. When someone goes down, the next man has got to come up and try to fill those shoes. And so, as big a loss as that is, I trust my other teammates that they're going to step up and rise to that challenge.
How do you assess your play through these 7 games?
There's things I got to improve on. In the run and pass game, and that's what I'm going to keep continuing to do.
There are multiple times after games this year where opponents have seemingly questioned the team's energy or effort or things like that. Do you have any read on why that might be coming up from opposing players?
I don't think, from my view, I don't think there's any lack of energy or lack of any lack of juice or any laziness or nothing like that. I feel like everyone's locked in, everyone's dialed in. There's obviously mistakes that need to be corrected across the board, but I don't think there's any lack of energy or anything like that.
Do you have any idea why that?
No, I don't.
All set?
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.